sciencey area, I mean, we are talking about clinically clean walls, and it looks like OSHA. Oh, OSHA is not here. It looks like all of the regulations for safety and science and medicine, and there are the proper disposal units for the tips of the syringes, and there are the the first aid kits on the wall, prominently marked, and you know what I mean, right? I mean, it's this completely professional looking um, medical facility. Now, Hans, your job is over there with the patient rooms. And at the moment, nobody is paying any attention to you. There are five of these people um, who require a certain amount of attention to keep obedient. They are not really resisting, but they, if you are not paying attention, one or the other will start to ask questions that you would expect and would start to um, cause trouble, probably. There are two women and three men. They are all in very good health, and they have different body shapes and sizes. They are not like little, they are not all alike. They are different heights and different kind of physique, but they are all very, very healthy.
Right now, they're kind of like, are they under Hans' spell or what?
Just being around Hans, because he doesn't have to spend Vitae for dominate one. Just being around Hans makes them do what he says. And he doesn't have to constantly talk to him, but he has to keep his attention on the situation over in those blue rooms that say patient rooms.
So his job is just to be a kind of babysitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, so what kind of roles are we talking about uh, for Ansa at this time?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just happy to, like, do the experiment because it takes some time to, for the, like, new vampire to
Mm-hmm.
come alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, and then, like, yeah, we are running out of time, sort of. Like, we don't have too many hours left today. So I want to get it done now.
Okay. So that means that the Vitae has to go from Nora into the wreck or into Ostine, right? Not into Solvay, but into Ostine. And some of Solvay's Vitae that you can extract. Now that means that you have to set up some kind of cool tube from Solvay's burnt body, right? And you have to kind of trick the whole system into thinking that what's coming from Nora is actually Solvay's. So maybe the tube has to go from the burned body into Nora, and then Nora has to give her Vitae, to Ostine. So you have this kind of strange and hold on, Nathan, some kind of strange and squicky blood tube, transfer going from person to person. And you are busy probably analyzing and measuring things. Perhaps you are taking a sample and testing it, to make sure that it's working and stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, Nathan.
Hans is going to reduce his control over other people.
Ah, okay.
To let them steer and make noise and basically disturbing the experiment.
I see. Okay.
What
what are you playing at over there?
By mistake.
Ah. Right. So good. In that case, make the role that concerns any kind of research analysis for Ansa right now. I would like to know that.
When do I get to Abby? Because I helped before.
Yes, you can help now.
Yeah, you can help like building, like
Yes,
putting
do
the
this,
tools
do
together
that.
and everything. You are
I'm
crafty
the
dudes.
nurse,
Right.
basically, like passing the syringe. But you have to help me with like the skills and things like that, because
Okay.
I don't see any obvious skills there.
Okay.
Like
Well,
nurse.
in this case, it's just a matter of doing what you're told. You just will take two. It's easy. You will just take two of the attributes that go together for this purpose. And so this is your job. Really, is not to screw it up. That's your problem with this, because you are sort of prone to screwing things up by default. So that means that you have to stay on task and not try to be clever and artistic. That's hard for you. So
Yeah.
that means that I think we are talking about um, intelligence and resolve.
Yeah.
You have to keep on task here about something that is actually boring.
Yeah, one success. We have get one.
You need
I
yes,
actually-
you need
I-
at least one success, and then they will get a bonus die. Otherwise, you are. And let's just
So
hope you don't get it.
I get one success.
Excellent. So that is plus one die for Henna.
Yeah. I had
and-
4 dice. That was lucky.
Yeah. And so go ahead with Henna, and at that time too, one of the 5 people, Hans, is not responsive.
No, but what am I like rolling the same thing, or like can I just
No, you are rolling like sciencey stuff now. You are.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So like science and something, or like is research, like academics research.
Right.
Something, because I have specialty in that.
That's
but this
right.
isn't really like research, really.
In this case, this is research because you are analyzing the situation to make sure that it is going properly. So that's fine.
Okay, so then I take the academics and I have the specialty there, so it gave like additional die, like another.
One more die, yes.
Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then like I guess it needs some attribute to it. So
In this case, it is intelligence.
yeah, okay, that sounds good. Very good. Okay, I have 3 successes, but 2 of them are 10s, so I guess I'm
roll them again.
re-rolling.
Yeah, roll those again. Yeah.
And then we will see what happens. No more successes, but no ones either.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here are some things. First of all, the setup is working fine, which is good. But then because actually that comes from the original roll. You successfully designed this already. So we are not rolling for like whether it will work. That's okay. What we are doing now is something that you discover, which is several things. One thing you discover is finally it becomes clear to you why Austin was so important. Because right now you are working with the Vitae from Solvay. And you are suddenly discovering that the biology of the 2 men is extraordinarily similar. Austin is not only a biological descendant of Solvay, but is also frighteningly similar, biologically speaking.
Why do you say frightened similar?
Well, if you were talking about, for example, a gamel barn, right? If that's the right way to put it, then the genetic similarity is really no different from anyone else in the population. I mean, that's only important culturally. But in this case, it is almost as though this is of a degree of relationship that is at least parental.
or a clone.
I mean, she's not running a full genetic analysis to check to see like what the percent is, but it's definitely enough to at least be 50%, and that's parental. So that's pretty weird.
I would like to know how that comes to, how you realize this.
Because you are analyzing the blood with vampire science.
Yeah, I understand that, but how do you visualize these similarities? Is it like smell, or is it like?
That's actually a very interesting point.
Yeah.
I mean, Nora has blood sympathy with Solveig, and so and that is fine. But with given the way she was doing this, I think it's actually very scientific with little data and little analyses of little samples of the blood and what it does, and it's all very scientific looking.
I mean, realizing those similarities must be. So, are you like mixing traditional science with? So this is this a kind of a computer screen with a DNA like percentage?
Yes.
That's what I am envisioning. Yes.
Yes.
And that's why instead of Nora chewing a hole in her wrist and dripping it into Austine's mouth, no, we have a nice clean, needle that has been inserted, and it goes through the rubber tube, and the rubber tube does this. Right.
How does Nora? How do you feel? Is this okay with you?
How do you say it was again? That I.
Okay, but
yeah.
I'm asking you, is this okay? Yeah, we are already doing it, so it's strange for me to ask afterwards. But you have actually we have mixed your blood with. Solveig's blood, and now we're going to put it into Ostine. Is that okay with you? I'm saying that while I'm like your blood.
Yeah, while it's coming out of the
Yeah, I like got lost track a bit only on listening how you.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to track on how the process is not done. So it's connected to a tube and like mixed.
Right. Well, what happened first is that you are actually have this vitae being transferred from Solveig's burnt body into your body. So you're actually getting your sire's vitae infused into you through a technological tube. And then you will be putting a lot of vitae into Austine's body. And it is not, as I say, it's not like, this isn't about like chewing on yourself and dripping blood anywhere. This is actually surgical. This is actually like surgical tubing is taking the blood, through a process. And there's Ansa, over there looking crazy, taking data off of the whole thing and looking it up on a computer screen and stuff like that and saying crazy things while she does it. And then that vitae is going into Austine. So you are actually channeling your sire's vitae, mixing it with your own vitae in your own body. You are like a laboratory device right now. Okay, and then this weird other mechette is asking you, by the way, how do you feel about this? Because they just realized how weird this is.
But I can be more precise if you want. I mean, like losing this much blood, much like make you confused. How does it feel to like add that much of your maker's blood into your own? That must be a kind of rejuvenating and refreshing feeling, right?
It's something. It's pain. It's frighteningly close to diablerie. It's frighteningly close to feeding on another vampire. It's not
Would
exactly
it
the
be?
same, but it's like it.
Is that something that we all have done but not talked about? Is
We haven't done.
Yeah, you're right, Ola. At this time, none
Yeah.
of your character. We are assuming that none of your characters have done this.
so so that's probably the reason I'm asking
Right.
how does it feel?
I would assume because of like all the blood like going through her, she feeling some type of a little bit high, but maybe some odd experience or like.
Mm-hmm.
It must be pleasure, right? I'm pressuring you now. It must be pleasure. It must be pleasure.
Does it feel good? Oh, you're creepy.
Yeah. But I
Maybe,
think
but also-
I found, yeah,
Go ahead.
Also a bit messy,
messy
a
pleasure.
bit on edge.
Mm. I think I found a connection there. Yeah, go on.
And I think also because of like blood, I'm missing how she explained, but because of blood moving around, I think she describes like almost like eat the beast, like it doesn't like grow in presence, but it's kind of like shaking or like
Yeah.
you could be a bit like so she feel like no, I shouldn't stay like this forever because it will not be
Let's
nice.
actually have you make a composure and resolve roll for Nora.
Composure and
Resolve. This is not
Composure.
quite resisting frenzy, but it's a little bit like it. If you fail it, you're not going to want to give this away. Right?